Hello, this is Wade Frazier. This is March 13th, 2026, 5:37 p.m. Huh. I did a post on Sam Husseini already, but I'm gonna like with Chris Beck, I'm gonna do a do-over, make it maybe a little better after I watched it. Um, as I've stated, I've been on this oral history project, and when I get during this recounting, I'll come to stages where there's certain subjects, people, events, etc. I want to get into, discuss more. And an example is that I did, when I started my days of study, I talked about my media studies, and I daisy chained to Ed Herman, who I began my media studies with his work. And then I daisy chained to Chris Black, Ed's friend. He then became my friend. And in fact, in the same email, the last email I got from Ed, introduced me to Chris and introduced me to Sam Husseini. And actually, incidentally, so those two posts ago where I made this post on Chris, and that post actually led to quite a few exchanges with his friends and colleagues who reminisce about the man that they loved. And I even heard from the general who was acquitted at the Rwandan tribunal through Chris's efforts, Chris's case. And that general just had nothing but admiration and gratitude for Chris and what he did. And he remarked that Chris was a believer. Chris believed in the truth, and in that instance, it prevailed. Yeah, Chris thought that the truth would win, and in that case, it did. And as I noted before, Chris taking on that case in Rwanda risked his life and actually helped shorten his life. Yeah, it ruined his life to take that case and probably shortened it. And again, and these are the kind of people that were around Ed. And so these are the kind of people that Ed attracted and he stayed in touch with. And another one was Sam Husseini. So Sam is a heroic journalist. There's not many of those in the United States. Sam's father was Palestinian and was driven from his home by the Zionists in 1948. As you know, the Zionists established Israel by getting rid of the indigenous people. And so Sam's parents migrated to the United States in the early 70s when Sam was a child. Yeah, Sam was born over there. But when he became an American citizen, about the time he became an adult. And anybody who encounters Sam or his work immediately understands how intelligent Sam is. Yeah, highly intelligent man. And he got 2 bachelor's degrees at the same time in math, logic, and computation. He was a programmer and math teacher before he took up journalism. In fact, when Ed died, and again, that's when I really started interacting with Sam, was when Ed died. I knew who Sam was. I had read some of his work over the years. And, Sam helped get Ed's obituaries. He helped to get Ed's obituary published in the New York Times, Washington Post, probably some other venues. And that alone puts Sam, in the eternal gratitude category for doing that. But we fell out of touch after Ed's death. And in fact, it turned out that I found out only a year or two ago that part of the reason why we fell out was that my host, the host of my site and my email, was blocking Sam's emails to me, putting them in junk. So I didn't even see them. So that's partly how we fell out of touch. But in 2021, Sam was publishing a Substack, and I read one of his articles where he was discussing with an ACLU attorney big tech censorship, particularly around the COVID-19 narrative. And that was right down my alley. It's all, and I can't remember if he contacted me or I stumbled upon it. I really can't remember exactly how that happened. But once I read that article, I've read every word Sam has published at Substack ever since. And so so Ed's Sam, yeah. Sam knows this stuff. And so I don't know how left Sam would call himself. Sam was certainly no fan of the Democratic Party. And in fact, Sam founded a vote pact. And this was a strategy that Sam came up with to escape the political stranglehold on the USA's electoral system with the two-party system. Yeah, the two-party system is, as Gore Vidal said, one branch with two right wings. And so, yeah, Sam's trying his vote pact's an attempt to escape that, to the extent that electoral politics can escape that. Yeah, as my readers know, what I call retail politics, electoral politics. It's not going to address, it's not going to solve our existential issues, in my opinion. But I get its place, though. And so Sam's trying to make a dent in that area also. And what Sam really has done is his career as a journalist is try to get the most out of the First Amendment, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, and Sam would ask American officials, including ex-presidents, etc. He would ask questions that few of the journalists will ask, had the courage to ask. So Sam would ask those. And in fact, he had it's a Washington stakeout or something where this is many years ago, but he would on the weekends he would corner politicians who were coming out of meetings, and he would just a second, put this on hold for just a second.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah, I'm sick. Anyway, so Sam would he'd corner politicians, there in Washington D.C. on the weekends and ask them questions that they'd rather not have answered. So this was Sam trying to get all the mileage out of the First Amendment that he could, to hold government accountable, to hold officials accountable, which was the purpose of the First Amendment, which is inherited from the British Bill of Rights from a century earlier. Yeah, we didn't invent freedom in this country, but the United States has freedom of speech to some degree, more than almost anywhere else. It's not that free, but it's more free. But as Ed said, it doesn't guarantee you'll be heard. This is part of the genius of the system. And so Sam, actually, his Sam's claims to fame. So in 2018, he was dragged out of a Trump-Putin press conference because he was planning to ask about nuclear disarmament. He's holding up a little handmade sign to ask about, the treaties. And well, that didn't fly. So he was forcibly dragged out of the press room and thrown into jail. Cuffed and all the rest is thrown in the jail for trying to ask a question about nuclear disarmament. Such a crime. Yeah, spent the night in jail. Last year, Sam was actually dragged out of a State Department conference where Blinken was giving trying to do his victory lap there right as he was leaving office, and Sam, and he wasn't the only one. So Max Blumenthal made a spectacle, and then Sam kept trying to get in questions though to Blinken, and he was forcibly dragged from the conference room. And the goons at the State Department actually gave Sam a concussion off camera. Yeah, so and Sam's still recovering. Sam's still recovering from the concussion he got last year from these guys. And in fact, Sam, not too long ago, he really wished he had sued him and taken legal action for that. So no more journalists get manhandled at the American government. Yeah. Shouldn't require that, but this is America. Yeah, so you can ask questions you've still got teeth left to ask them with. So anyway, so Sam is getting dragged out of press conferences. I don't think Sam wants to be known for that. In fact, I'm sure he doesn't want to be known for that. But at this point, Sam's best known for being dragged out of press conferences. But Sam has a highly original perspective on events. And the kind it really makes me think, and so, he has very interesting perspectives on events, highly informed, again, highly intelligent. Yeah, it's a treat reading Sam's work. And understandably, since October, 2023, Sam's been writing about the genocide in Gaza, which has been heartbreaking reading. Yeah, it's brought me to tears at times reading Sam's reports on what's going on in Gaza. And he's been instrumental in promoting international action to try to end what's happening in Gaza, such as using the United for Peace strategy at the United Nations and trying to badger politicians around the world to do something. Some actions taken, obviously not enough to do that. Sam recently went to South Africa, taking his show on the road to South Africa. And of course, with the latest Israeli-American war in Iran, Sam's writing about that too. And Sam, and I won't disagree, he says that the United States-Israeli axis, the various axes of evils that people talk about, well, the American-Israeli axis, Sam regards as potentially the greatest existential threat to humanity. I won't argue against that. I don't think Noam Chomsky would deny that. You know, this is big. This is a big issue, huge existential issue of the rampaging empire, getting all that oil. You know, I write a Substack, partly because of Sam. So he actually encouraged me to write a Substack. So in fact, I'm on Sam's blog roll. In fact, hundreds of my readers of my site came from Sam. But I'm how to say it? I'm not your typical lefty kind of person. So my work's about free energy, healing the planet, a world of love and abundance. That's what I'm about. I'm a comprehensivist, so it takes in politics and the media, many subjects. And Sam, he's about the only one I've been on the left who actually isn't giving some knee-jerk dismissal of free energy, et cetera. He's got it rolling around in his head, to Sam's credit. Yeah, and the technology for it's older than I am. So anyway, and that's kind of why I'm on Sam's blog roll, I think. So, and we'll see if Sam and I take that further. I hope so, but we'll see. I don't know. So, you know, today, like with Ed and Chris, my relationship with Sam today is solely through email. Maybe that'll change one day. We'll see. But, you know, so Ed, Chris, Sam, I mean, these guys are saints. These guys were our saints, and really, really a great honor and privilege to be able to interact with them and learn from them and learn from their feet. So I'll be learning from Sam as long as I'm around, and which we'll see how long that is. But I think Sam and I will know each other a long time. And anyway, so he's definitely one of the characters. He's definitely my cast of characters in my work, and really a big, heroic, you know, great human, you know, who is definitely giving it his all, trying to make a dent. And again, as through journalism, I mean, partly, again, he's also doing activism, right? He's also trying to get officials around the world to do something about what's happening in Gaza, for instance. So anyway, that's all I have to say about Sam for right now. So it's been wonderful. I'll continue being wonderful with Sam. So bye for now.